You said never let me go. You said. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Naseem, and if you're watching this for the first time, then my channel is all about travel. Wherever and whatever I travel, I will be putting up on this channel. I have a 4-year-old child, so it's mom life, it's daily vlogs sometimes, weekly vlogs sometimes, and I love reading books. Over the time I have developed, I think since I was very young, I loved spending my pocket money on buying great books. So today this video is about buying books. And if you're new to reading, or if you want to start reading, from where you should start, what you can start, and how much you might have to spend on that is what I will be including in this video. But I do have a TikTok account, I do have an Instagram account on which I generally like to post about my books, and I don't really make so many videos, but if it is something very good, I will like to share with you all. I will like to share with you all about it. But right now, this is for all the beginners and also those who are into the fantasy side of the books. How I began reading these books, and so far where and what I'm reading. So let's begin this video. Okay, so I love reading all types of books, generally all types of books, but mostly like when I'm more of my pastime, or when I don't want to learn anything, or I want to spend my time and have a good quality time with my coffee, is the fantasy or the romance books that I love to read. And I so far have collected a very small library, which is, I think, a small shelf. So I know that many people have big libraries, but I have also put myself into the digital copies because when you're moving a house, to carry those copies is not a good idea. So until I know that I have a house, I have my own library, I don't think I'll be spending so much on buying physical books, but satisfying my need by buying the digital copies, which are way cheaper as well, which I will talk about later on. So if you are new to those books that I'm including, like the most hyped books, why they are hyped, or I can say, should you read this book or not? But mostly, I would suggest the books that are hyped and are really worth reading. So I have, Twilight is my and my sister's favorite part-time watching movies whenever and wherever and whatever time it would come. Like in India, I was in India at that time, so in India it would come on the TV, and whenever it would come, whichever part it would be, we would watch it and we would have the best time of watching it. So I think it came from that time that I was very much interested in fantasy. So let's jump on the books. Which is the first book that I actually started reading was this Sorcery of Thorns. This is a book, and this is a very simple book, very simple writing, very simple understanding. And if you are reading for the first time and you don't want to be spooked about, or you don't want to be scared about, or you are like me, like I don't like ghosty stories. So there are books that I got which has all the ghosty kind of material which I could not read, so I avoided them. But if you are like me, this book is just perfect, and it is a good to beginners. And if you are already into books and you're here just to see the suggestion of other types of books, this book, if you have not read this book, you must read. It's about a girl, about the library, about a struggle, and about demon. But I love this book. You can try reading it. Next, of course, we are going to talk about Acotar, or Throne of Glass, and the order of reading, and how I read and how I understood. So, so I started with Throne of Glass because at that time I was not aware of Acotar. Although I think the books were, I think few copies were out, but I was not aware of it. But here, this one, yeah, you can see these are the copies. So it was out, but I was not so aware of them. So this is the one I read, extremely in love with it. Was the first one I read, and then there was, you know, a big um what do you say, a big, what's the word for it, the Order of Throne of Glass is always a conflict for all types of readers. But I think if you can read this one and the Assassins, there was, which was that one? The Assassin's Blade, it's fine. But if you want to read, I think the Assassin's Blade is the pre part of this book. If you read that first and this as your second copy, you will understand better about her emotions in this book. So how I read, so I read digital copies. I did not buy because it would be like this many books. I already had the Throne of Glass series right here, and these are like all the parts from that already over here. So this is already come in the order. You don't have to have any conflict about it. The order is as it is the Throne of Thorns and Roses. Then it is the Mist and Fury, which by the way is my favorite book. This book has made me laugh and cry and absolutely all types of emotions. This book is amazing. Then it was Wings, and then this one, The Frost, and then this one, The Silver. You will have a great time reading this book because you can see I'm sorry, but I couldn't finish it. But I have to finish it. But I couldn't. But I have to. But I will. But it was a difficult book. So this has a lot of world building. World building. What is world building? If you're new, world building is where they take you in the world that the writer is writing, from a stone, from a statue, from a corner, from a building to a wall to a lamp, everything. And then you can imagine in your head has and how you want to imagine the place and make it come out beautiful, you know. So world building is something that takes you on the next stage, and which is difficult to understand, which is why you should read simple books first if you're trying to read books. So as I said, this book is like Beauty and the Beast, except the beast is not the spoiler, beast is not the hero. There's somebody else, which you will see in this, and you will fall in love with the character, and that is why you will want to read the rest remaining of the book, which is an average 5 out of 10. But these two books are like 10, 11, 20, 100 out of 10. That good. So these are one. Then once those books are over, you will have to jump to this collection, which is the Crescent City. Now if you are a beginner, like you just started reading books, no, you're here to know about books, do not read this book because you're gonna hate reading books. It's not that the book is bad, the book is amazing, you're gonna cry and you're gonna want to read it again, but it's the world building. It's very difficult to understand. When I started reading it, I was like, oh, there's fireworks. It's 4th of July, by the way, so there's lots of fireworks going on. Okay, back to the books. So when I started reading this book, I was like, what? Why the stone? Why the sculpture? Why the wall? Why I don't want to know about that. Where is the character? Where is the story? But then, you know, first there's a hit, you cry, and then there's like 800 pages. How many are this? 800 pages books, out of which 600 pages is all about world building. You will regret his decision at that time, but the remaining 200 pages in this book is going to make you feel so sad, so much emotional, and so much value and worth for the money. This book costed me $20, $22, I think, which is expensive, but I was so curious to read it. Okay, so this was the first part and this is the second part, okay? And the both the books are the same thing. They are 600 pages of world building and 200 pages worth reading that world building. I don't know why. You can, like, the author, you can ask her, Sarah J Maas. She's amazing. She writes amazing books, but I think once you start reading and understanding fantasy books, um that is the time you understand the world building and you kind of enjoy it. It's just that it's too time consuming. That's the reason why people like to switch to audiobooks, and then until the end, when it is very interesting, they try to read it. Mostly they try to listen to it fast forward so that they know what the story is all about, and you are knowing and understanding what it is. And audiobooks are cheaper as well. Physical books are expensive, and it depends from $10, $9, $7. If it's an old collection, to up to $22 is the maximum. And if it is a very, very special edition or pre-book, then I think it would be even somewhere around $30. That's the US price. I don't know about the other places. I don't even know if you get these books in India. I'm sorry. If I know, I will try to link it. If I don't, I'm sorry. But these are the books, and this is one collection of there's one more. Oh, the broken blade. So this book was launched by a reader itself, and she launched it as a mystery writer, and it was all hyped up until you read it. It's an amazing book, very simple to understand, very less difficulty or difficult words, very beautiful book to understand. It's about a girl, her past life, and her fight to freedom, and how miracles are happening, how healing is happening, and stuff like that. But this has three parts so far. I think it's going to be a set of four books. So far, three books are out, fourth book will be out. I have read the two books, and I haven't read the third book. So this is the first. This is this is the first book. This is the second book. It's a beautiful book of collection. She has a third one. You can check it out. I'll post it here, or maybe I'll write in the description. So these books costed me $13. I think $13. So hardcover books cost more. Paperbacks cost cheaper, but I didn't find this book in hardcovers. If I did, I would have taken the hardcover, because it's an obsession. Once you become a reader, you want to build a library, and when you want to build a library, it's mostly you want to have hardcover books. So there are types of readers who would buy a book to read, scribble, and annotate on it and write on it, and have a copy that they will read again and again, which will eventually get spoiled, worn out. But there will be readers, and then they will have another copy to put in their library. Those are one, and I'm those type of readers who buy their books. I don't write anything on my book, but I do want to keep a note of which page has the best lines, or which page has the best meaning or moments that I want to re-go and read. So I mark them with a post-it, and then that's how I keep my books, which will be then moving to my library, which I don't know when I'll make. So it's just a build up over here, which I want to do, inshallah. We'll see about that. So how is the reading order of Acotar? If you people will say you have to read this series in order to go move to the Acotar series, which is the throne of roses, thrones. Sorry. Coat of thorns and roses, coat of mist and fury, and all the remaining ones. But I did not find anything so much, necessary. I think it was a marketing strategy as for me. But this book is amazing. The series itself is amazing. You can read it by itself. Don't force yourself as a reader. Be a reader who enjoys their self when they are reading. So this book is definitely going to make you laugh and cry and feel like, oh my god, there's a world beyond that exists, only in your imagination though. Don't get carried away. But this book and the remaining, I did not find anything that will be like, oh, I had to read this series, because this series has like how many, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 books, 7 books. And mind it, the last book, the Kingdom of Ash, is like this big, 1,000 pages, I think. I have not read the last 3 books. Sorry, I have not read the last 3 books. So I will say I don't find a loss. Maybe one day I will slowly and steadily read it. I don't find a loss. But Acotar, you can start without even reading this book. in my views. You don't need to read this whole series in order to start this book. Just read this book like a new book, and whichever character comes is a new character. But if you're reading this series, then you can start reading the Crescent City. Once you, oops, again. Once you have done reading the Acotar series, the Court of Thorns and Roses, then is the this a book which in first and the second first part you won't find anything. Second part has a relevance of connecting to some of the characters from the previous book. Spoiler alert. So you might feel curious, that there is a hype of the connection. So you might want to read that series first and then go to this. By the time you finish the Acotar series, you will be pro and refined in understanding world building, so you will be just fine. But if you don't want to pressurize yourself with heartbreaking and a long series where you have to spend months in them, then I would say go for a book like this, which has two books. Which this was a standalone book. I don't know why the second book came out, but I haven't read the second book. I'm skeptical because I don't want to ruin the part of the first book, which is very touching and very emotional to me. So you can read standalone books. You can read books like Frost. Now where did it go? My God, look at the mess I have over here. Look, you can read book like Frost, which has two books. One is this, and one is Embrace, I think. Oh, I can't remember the name. Sorry. But yeah, they have two copies so far. You can read those. Very simple to understand. If you are a fast reader, you'll finish this in one day, like I finished it in one day. But if you want to enjoy, I think the Shadow of Crown and the Broken Blade is amazing books to start to. These books have a lot of relevance. If you have read a lot of fantasy books, you will like definitely know, oh, there's something I read, like, oh, this is, oh yeah. But there is a thing called a space of the story moving. This has a great pace of story moving in it. mm, this book was the first thing I got when I moved. It was pre-orders and I got a signed copy. So I got a signed copy of Midnight Sun. So if you have seen Twilight, my sisters, and my favorite book where we actually started with the fantasy world, this is the book from Edward's side of the story. So you can read this if you have proud yourself in reading books, because it has something that will make you feel, what, why, where, oh, that, okay, that kind of a feeling. But other than that, this is all the mess I have. I'm sorry, but other than that, these are the books, and as I said, reading order doesn't actually matter. But the Acotar series, I think you should read first before you move to Crescent City. And there is a third book out, which are the Flames, which I haven't received yet. I mean, which I haven't purchased yet, because there are many books that I didn't finish reading, and I feel guilty when I don't finish my books. So I want to have myself that freedom where I can finish my books and I can move to the next book and enjoy them. And also because when you read a series continuously, you kind of start pacing out on the characters. It's kind of like how you binge watch a Netflix series, and then you just start fast forwarding, just I want to finish the series. It's kind of starts happening like that, because you're so late in the series. The books usually come once a year, or like 6 7 months they get released, the series, and now that they're already out. But so I would like to suggest to the new readers, if you want to read, carry a book like one of these books. Very, very, very beautiful books. 10 out of 10 books. You can read any of these books first, except for Crescents. It is very difficult to understand for new beginners. But if you are reading and you just want to know the Acotar series, The Throne of Glass, so if you haven't read Throne of Glass, you can read it. It's a good book of series, but I don't find the relevance to read that and then move to the Acotar series. So that's what is my opinion. But there are many readers who will have different opinions. So that's just what I felt. So I didn't read a few books, but that doesn't mean I will not read them. The books are beautiful. I will read them, but not right now. I just need my time. There is a commitment that you need to do to books because they drain you sometimes emotionally, so be ready for that. But if you want a happy book, a happy ending book, uh, well, fantasy books are not happy, kind of a happy ending kind of a book. Happy endings you will get with a lot of traumas that they go through. But fantasy books are something that you will find mesmerized, you find surprise, you find like a world beyond existence. So if you are more into that sci-fi and stuff like that, then you will definitely love the books, because I think the books have more imagination than when it is created on a TV or a series or a movie. The world of imagination is way beyond. Oh, my hands are moving so much today. Anyways, these are my suggestions for all the new beginners who want to read and who wanted to know about the format of reading, the tone of glass and stuff. Like I said, if my suggestion helped, I hope it helped. If my suggestion helped, give me a like, let me know, follow along, because I will also share my romance book collection. So as I said, I like fantasy books and I like romance books. I also like reading other types of books, but I don't have collection of them. It's just like here and there. I have digital copies. Hardcover books cost expensive, but they are fancy to put in library. Paperback books are cheaper and way cheaper when they are on sales, like on the apps, on Target apps especially. They go on 30% and buy one 50% off. So you can have deals over there, and it's not necessary you have to pre-order unless you're like into that zone where I have to read the next book. But if you just started, take it easy and buy a book that is over the counter for $7-8, which is maybe not so new, but it is an amazing story you can start with. Digital copies, of another hand, will cost you around $4 to $5 to $6, sometimes $8, which is very cheap. But also compare it online, because sometimes digital copies which are costing you $8, $9 will be the same amount you will cost to the paperback copies. That's the reason why I like to compare. If they're cheaper, I buy the books. I like reading physical books as compared to the digital copies. But if you are into, I can't take my books along, I need to read on the Kindle app or the Kindle itself, then you can go for digital copies, way cheaper. Audiobooks also available for audiobooks are a bit expensive, I think, whichever I found were like $12, $13. Dramatic audiobooks, on the other hand, is like $25, $30, because they are dramatized and with the sound effect and the screaming and shouting, but they sound really good. Yeah, that is all that I can share with you guys, and I can think of right now. But if I missed out on anything, let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So see you next time. Bye. With my romance collection. Bye. You said